Hi, and welcome to the next 90%. I'm Erin.
I'm Caitlin.
Matt.
I'm Justin, and this week we're joined by my good friend Jeremy Landry and 2022 Positively Unstoppable Challenge winner with DDPY. Welcome, Jeremy.
How's it going? Thank you for having
Good.
me.
Good. I'm glad to have you on here. You and I have talked quite a bit, in the past, and even here in the most recent, recently. And I really think we need to hear your story, and I really want to get it out there because you've taken your journey, not just weight loss and transforming yourself, but you've had to deal with some other issues, and you've taken it above and beyond. And then I also, with talking to you, I love how you already have your plan to level up. Like you're already at that next 90% now, and you're already moving up. So I want you to share that with us because that's powerful stuff.
Sure. So I guess for anyone that doesn't know, I've struggled with addiction for 20 years. I'm 39, so I started young. Um, it it led to some pretty dark places. I mean, in the depth of my addiction, I was easily smoking over $200 worth of crack a day. And when I say at that level, that was probably like the last 3 years. So there's a lot of a lot of in between that time, but it really had changed me who I was, and because it was so long, I never really developed a sense of adult character. I was still mentally a stunted youth, from childhood trauma, which then obviously led into to addiction. um, but because I had started doing, hard drugs at such a young age as well, I never developed what people develop during their early 20s or 30s, even. Um, so I kind of missed the boat on that. I was just literally just living for drugs. I had a functioning life in a sense that I held together um, an environment for myself, but I wasn't productive. I didn't do anything, and for the last 6 years, I really, really wanted to quit it. My life was at a point where I didn't want to exist. I wasn't suicidal in the sense that I wanted to kill myself, but I was done with life. And because I've always kind of done things for any reason for any given time, I walked by a tattoo parlor and I got a big tattoo on the side of my head. Like that wasn't planned. I just do things spontaneously. So there was a time where I wouldn't walk over a bridge when I lived in Vancouver, and not because I planned or thought about jumping. It was that I didn't trust myself not to. So I was really low, and I had tried different rehab facilities and different counseling, and I attacked the problem that was causing my addiction. So when I finally started doing that, I got some time in, but I didn't do the work to maintain um, sobriety or even maintain the train of thought that I thought I had. So fast forward, through some hairy situations, I've overdosed. You know, close family members have overdosed. I've been in the underworld as well, some hairy situations there. But finally, on my third attempt at a rehab facility, um, I was ready. This was after 6 years of desire to stop because it had taken over. I was doing drugs all the time. I was always high on cocaine, or drunk. Um, and I sometimes I would, you know, convince my wife, and not convince, manipulate. I would manipulate my wife into letting me rob her to get money for cocaine because it wasn't crack. And this wasn't like a conversation. This was a battle, like a mental battle. So I knew that this is the person I had become, and things had to change. And I knew that I needed to get away from drugs in order to find who I was. And one weekend coming home, I watched the resurrection of Jake the Snake, and we had so much in common with his childhood trauma, the relationship with his father, and just being rough around the edges, I think. um, and the specific trauma as well, and the drug of choice. It was all things that I could relate to, and I respected him because just coincidentally, he looked like my stepfather. They looked very similar. So I had that kind of special connection. Um, and it was kind of like he did it, and it was like my stepfather was doing it through him. My stepfather was an alcoholic as well. Um, but just the way Jake's story affected me, um, I was like, this is what I need to do. If anything else, I can, like I can at least say I gave it a shot. Like this guy did it. I'd been where he had been, and he did it. And I took that mentality with me back to rehab, and I finished the month. I was only there for 30 days. I finished it, and I came home, and I waited for a couple months to get the DVDs. Um, and then I got it, and I looked at the back, and it said that there was like a Facebook page. So I went on it, and then the first person I saw was Justin, and my mind was just blown. I was blown away. I'm very much, I'm a very emotional person, but I'll side with my logic more so than my heart nowadays. Um, and logically, I was like, if this guy is real and he did this, then again, there is no excuses as to why I can't. There's nothing. If what he did blew my mind. I couldn't fathom that it was real. So I reached out to him, and sure enough, he was real, and it worked. So now I had two things, and the only two things. I wasn't aware of the community. I had nothing about this. I was just doing it because Jake did it, and then I saw that someone could lose a shit ton of weight by doing it. So that's all the evidence I needed, and I just read affirmations and read affirmations. I did the work that I brought home from rehab, and I just did it all over again. I just kept doing it, and I would go into my garage by myself, and I would put the DVDs on, and I would just do them. I'd follow the book. I would just do them with my eyes closed, and I swear to God, I cried so much for the first 4 months. Like I couldn't tell if the mat was wet from tears or from sweat because I would just bawl, lose myself. And that's when I grew. Like that's when I really started being like, look, you're doing this, and then I'm sure as all you guys know, the weight the first 4 months, I lost like 44 pounds. I was like, what the hell is going on? I hadn't done anything else at this point. So I started seeing like results of my work, and I was believing the way I was feeling, and I was believing the way I was thinking. I was believing what I was saying. And again, it comes back to the logic side of me where I was like, look, all of these things that you're presenting to yourself and to others is legitimate. So fuck all that nonsense that you're telling yourself, because that isn't you telling yourself that. That's the shit that you experience. That's the demons trying to pull you back down. All that you're a phony. You haven't done shit. You're nothing compared to these people. All of that. Don't. Who cares? Boom. Start believing what you're putting out, and what I was putting out is great. So I sided with my logic, and I was like, and now it's growing. So anyway, again, in a nutshell, 2 years sober. I just celebrated 2 years sober, January 3rd. I've been doing DDP yoga for, I think this is my 17th month now. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. And I've lost 70 pounds. So these are good.
Wow. That's incredible.
Mm.
So good.
So when you talk about this journey, like I'm really curious about a lot of people ask like what keeps you going, and as you know, I come from a family of addiction. And that's something that's kind of always very present on my mind. I deal with my own addictions. And so, we have a lot of people who are addicts in this community who don't always win that battle. How do you feel like for you, what was your strategies for keeping going, for staying sober? And, how does that tie into your, kind of health and your journey there?
Well, it was really difficult. I guess you really have to prepare and know that it's coming. Like it, you can say it's going to be hard, but like it's actually going to be hard. It's not. That's not a saying. It really is. And for me, being an addict, I was always a social person before like the depth of my crack addiction. I didn't start out a crack addict, you know. I was a partier and I was always the entertainer. Everyone wanted to be around me. So for me, I had to do the exact opposite of what I had been doing. And not only that, I felt that my value was based on that character that I presented to these people while I was, you know, intoxicated or high. So it was really difficult, and people hang on, man. They don't want to let a good thing go. So I had a lot of people that physically came to my house and, you know, drunk and wanting to hang out months into my sobriety. So for me, just saying no and like standing up for myself was huge work, like anxiety through the roof, you know, just shaking, telling people. And I'm like, they don't give a shit about me. They're here. And for some reason, I'm concerned with hurting their feelings by telling them they need to go because they're bad for me. And the hardest thing in the world to do. And it seems silly, but it really was almost like freezing. So I had to do that several times. And then now that social media, like people are just going like this. So it was like everyone, you know, and people use tactics that will, they don't want to lose a good thing and they know what strings to pull on. You know, a lot of family members, especially, that are all trying to go like this. And I just completely ignored them and I just stayed like this. I did my DDP yoga. I started going to the gym, which led me to going to jujitsu. And now it's just like, I guess mentally, I don't think about anything other than what I'm doing. Nothing comes inside. I don't know what's going on in politics right now. I don't know what's going on in sports. I don't know what's going on. The only thing that comes in here is stuff that I allow in. And the only thing that I allow in is what's already there. And what's there is being a better version of myself every day. Even if it's not through physical exercise, I'm in my head and I'm contemplating ways that I can not react to certain ways, like because there's still a lot of shit that I carry from, you know, being a horrible person. I have zero patience or zero tolerance for anything. That's something that I don't want. I want to have patience. I want to have tolerance. You know, I don't want to be like, because that's anger, and it's just, it destroys you. I'm like, how can I still have this same overwhelming feeling of anger? It has nothing to do with my own life. So I'm still working on ways to like fix what I want fixed. So like, there's no time to pay attention to the noise around. It's just like, let's go. And I think one foot in front of the other is also super important. You just have to do it.
I noticed too that you do, a lot of videos and TikToks and things like that, which are very motivating for the community. I would assume that your family's been a large hand in this. Is that right?
My wife and daughters have been more a part of this than they're aware. You know, like, although I'm doing this for me, it's so I can be there for them. You know, I'm not doing it for them to be there for them. I'm doing it for me so I can be there for them. So just them being themselves is motivation for me. Um, but you know what? I don't mean this with any disrespect, obviously, whatsoever. But I everything about me is different. It's not. I don't just have a routine of exercise and eating healthy. Like, it's all up here as well. So my family life has changed more dramatically than my weight loss, or, you know, not me, because I am my family. So the mental change that has gone on in my family now is crazy, very overwhelming. Um, but I know that regardless of the stresses of this new, because you have to understand, I really am a new person after 15 years. You know, everything is completely different. So it's like, how do you start new as a new person? So it's very challenging, but you know, again, and no disrespect to my family, but I put my blinders back on. You know, unless there's something that needs to be addressed, I'm still like this, and I'm never losing focus on moving forward.
It's
It's
fantastic.
Do you think sometimes, like, because you just kind of helped me out a bit with what you were talking about. Do you think sometimes that, when we do put those blinders back on, it's literally no offense to them. It's just that maybe we've got that little bit of fear that, if we kind of take those off a little bit, we open ourselves up to too much. Because
I
I absolutely agree with you because I'm the same way. And with the family dynamic here has changed. 180 because I'm not the dad that's asleep at 5 o'clock at night, not willing to do anything. So that's just. But I know what you're saying because there's times that I just kind of get that tunnel vision on, and I think it's because maybe there's that fear of maybe opening up a little too much, too fast.
well, I look at it this way. Unless you do what you love for work, you have to go to work to provide for your family. This is my work. So they're not at work, you know, eh, for those 8 hours that I'm working on myself. Right. So outside of that time, then I can deal with that. And as far as like opening up, yeah, 100%. I think that is to keep from doing that. But I don't think it's necessarily unhealthy because
No,
I think that'll come when it's time to come. I think if you have a fear of doing that, then maybe listen to that fear because maybe you're not through that tunnel yet.
I think that for anybody to succeed, you have to find that place that that is your go-to place. Like if it's a dungeon or an office or a hole in the wall that you can literally get away from the day-to-day shit and focus on what's what you're there for. I mean, if you have
Mm.
goals, I mean, you have to do that. So to hear you say that, how has it changed your wife's in your relationship? And like how she's dealing with a new person? Because I know a lot of people
Um,
in the community have that issue where once we went through the transformation, it's taken the spouses a little time to catch up. So how did she deal with that?
well, I guess she's going to school right now to be a teacher. So she's, finally able to do stuff for herself. But again, we've been together for 15 years. She's 35. So her adult life as well has been kind of taking care of me. So now that that's not the case for the last 2 years, she has to find her own identity, because it really, it was a give take relationship, so she has to kind of deal with a lot of shit that, is kind of forced upon her, right? Because I mean, she didn't put herself in the position that I put her in. Um, but that's in the past, and now it is what it is. So this is what we have to deal with. Now we have to discover who you are. So it's obviously extremely challenging um, because I was also the one. I never hid any of my shit. I was always upfront with it after it would happen. So you can imagine there was a lot of heated arguments. Um, so it was a lot of give take in that sense. When the shoe's on the other foot, because I was always doing the bad, so I was receiving the backlash from the bad I was doing. So now, not that she's doing bad, but now it's like we're working on her, and it's almost offensive because it's like, how dare you? And that's not how she feels, obviously, but it's like, you know, all of a sudden I'm the centerpiece coming from her thought, right? Like now all of a sudden the focus is on her I don't know, shortcomings, I guess, you know? So it's overwhelming, but I motivate her. I'm here for her. We're still together. Because again, there's really no separation in my mind between me and my family other than, you know, the individual.
And there must be a little bit of a discussion about the sudden surge in popularity, I would assume.
No, to be honest, like, I don't know. I'm very, I'm very quiet, believe it or not. I find it all very overwhelming. I like putting my stuff out there, but I find it. I don't know. Again, like I guess you'd have to know, my story. Um, you know, I was sexually assaulted when I was 5, and then I was molested by 7 different people in the next several years. And the attention that I always got was, "You're a handsome devil." It was always from a childhood. I was always told how good looking I was, and that became like my only value. And then throw that on top of being raped and molested, you know, that really messes with someone's head, right? Because you have good people showing you that the only thing that they have to talk about you is how good looking you are. And, you know, the bad people also exploited that. So when I get genuine compliments, I'm, kind of like in that movie scene where someone's in the shower, like that's how I feel. And that's something that I also have to work on. But it's like I feel dirty when I get compliments or, with the popularity thing. Like, and I know that's not how it's, intended, but I really do. Like, it makes me feel, and it's something that I have to work on. Sometimes I can't even go through the comments because it's just I get sad and like my sadness turns to anger very quickly because I don't want to be sad anymore. So it's like it turns into frustration. So I read these comments and then I start like saying, "You're an idiot, you're an idiot, you're an idiot." And I start thinking like all these nice sayings. And I'm like, you're an idiot if you think this, if you think there's something good about me. I genuinely feel that. So it's super difficult. But, again, I think what I'm doing is worth whatever is happening to me. And I think I'll work through it one way or another. I just think it's super important that people can see that, where I was to where I am, again, like Justin and Jake gave me hope, like that's all I really want to do is just give you hope, and put it out there. But I, at the same time, I'm still dealing with my demons, so I'm not the best at like communicating or being a part of the interactions.
And it's important to take time to get that squared
Mm.
and straightened up. That's make sure that foundation is good and solid before you go out and start putting yourself out there. So there's nothing wrong with taking a step back and continue to build that up.
We talk about that a
So,
lot here at the mental health and boundaries, and I think that's really important is like to make yourself a priority in your own life that, you want to give other people hope and they have to create their own hope as well, in creating their own lives and taking inspiration from so many in the community, but also being respectful of people's boundaries where they might not be ready to, support you because they're really working for themselves, just because someone's made a huge amount of progress doesn't mean their journey's over by any means. And sometimes there's that kind of push pull, right? Of like they're like, oh, they did all this stuff, they're good. They, let me talk to them all the time or ask questions or whatever. But really, this person's still at a very, in their mind, a very far back point that they still have a lot of work to do. And so, respecting that boundary is really important and creating those for yourself.
And even if they have, it's still really hard work just to maintain, you
Hmm.
know. So it really it is. I mean, when you've accomplished something, like we have, it there's something different going on upstairs. So I mean, in most cases, I believe, right, there really has to be that mental switch. So yeah.
so let's talk about your positively unstoppable win and how did you react when you got the phone call that you were a final or a winner, champion?
There it
Oh,
is. Yes.
got it on.
Yes.
Let's talk about that a little bit. How that came about, how the contest went for you, and I think you met
Yeah,
somebody special down there too.
it was Superman. What had happened was I was contacted to go down for a jacked transformation um, something. But anyway, everyone that was selected went down before I did. there was something with the flights where I couldn't join them, but they brought me down anyway. That was really special because it was just me. I had like one-on-one time with Dallas and Steve, and it was very my level, where it was just like, quiet, calm, and it was just like regular shit. I got to go to Dallas's house. He invited me over for supper, so it was just like him, me, Paige, and Brittany, and Oakley. So it was really nice just to have that like sit down, calm, conversations. So that was really special. And then they dressed me up as in a costume for the Madness. What is it? Black Friday sale they had after Christmas. The one where he's in the clown suit, or the Santa Claus suit. So they had put me in one as well, and then we shot the commercial, and I was like, "Am I going to be in this commercial?" It was all a ruse. He came out and he was like, "Everything's so crazy." He's like, "You know what else is crazy?" And then I was like, "What?" He was like, "You're a finalist," and I was like, "What?" And then he chopped me. He gave me a knife edge chop, and I was just like, so I was like, I had no idea what was going on. I thought I was shooting a commercial. And he knife edge chopped me, which like made me cry because I was like, I just had knife edge chop. And then he told me I was a finalist, and I was just like, what the fuck is going on? So I like hid, and they're like, no, get back out here. And they kept filming, and anyway, so that was it. I told me I was one of the five at that point. Um, yeah, and keep it on the down low. So I didn't get to share any of my first trip because I wasn't allowed. So then when we went back for the Unstoppable Challenge, it was with everyone, and man, things happen for a reason. My flight out of Moncton, where I live, there was a bunch of nonsense going on with our tickets. So we missed our first flight, and we didn't board another one till like 4 or 5 hours later. So we were supposed to go in Atlanta, meet everyone at the Performance Center, and then we were going to go to the AEW show. But because our flight got messed up, we took an Uber straight from the airport to AEW, and just like gave our luggage to Steve, and then watched the show and kind of pieced together people like that. And then the next day, we were at the Performance Center and we met everyone. And then the thing with Jake happened. He said Dallas wants to do a little interview with you about the resurrection and how it helped you. So I was like, sure. And I genuinely didn't know. So I sat down and had my hat on, and all of a sudden they came over my eyes. And I'm like, no one is going to do that. Right. I knew immediately as soon as the hat went over, and I was just like, oh my God. But I was more surprised that I didn't catch on, because I'm usually pretty quick to catch on to things. And I was like, oh my God. So yeah, I got to talk to him, and that was surreal. Still is, but extremely significant. And then come to find out, this is what you know. You can imagine how angry I was when the flight thing got buggered up on their end, not our end, right? I was like, this is for the challenge. If I miss going to this whole thing, I'm like, the best case scenario is I'm going to miss the wrestling show, So super angry. And then I got there. I was like, no problem. Met Jake the next day, and then Nadia told me that Jake was there the day before on the AEW, and that's when they were going to surprise me with him, because he was in town. And then when he found out that my flight was delayed, he stayed another night just so he could do that. And I was like, now, you know what I mean? So things happen for a reason. Like, it could have been still cool, obviously, but to know that he was on his way out and stuck around for that kind of made it extra special. Um, and yeah, meeting everyone was pretty cool. Again, my mental health and my sobriety is like my main focus. So at the Christmas party, it was cool. Met a bunch of people, had fun. But around 9:30, I was like, good to go. I'm just like, it's time to go home. Which again blew my mind. I'm like, bro, like, if ever I needed an excuse to relapse, not that obviously that would be the place to do it, but you know, in my mind, to relapse in my mind, because obviously that never would have happened. But the fact that not only did I not relapse in my mind, to be like, how much cooler would this be if I was had a little bit of sauce, you know? It was just like once people started to have a good time, it was like it's time for me to go, and so I left, and then went back to the hotel. Sarah continued doing her schoolwork, and it was super. It was my 700th day clean and sober as well at his Christmas
Wow.
party. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that was the trip, man, and then got to see the finale and all that jazz. But for me, the second trip was more of more of a vacation. The first trip is what hit my soul. Is what will I'll remember forever. And the second trip, the contest, was like a vacation. It was fun and it was cool. And the first time was like something I'll tell my grandkids.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So how did it feel? I'm going to have to ask this because I asked Stephanie the same thing. How was it when you walked through the big wood doors at the PC and you like saw the light like in there? You know what I'm talking about? You could kind of see the stage through the doors. What did that feel like walking through there?
So here's exactly what happened. Sarah stopped me before I went in, and she said, "Are you going to do a Dobbins?" So yeah, no, it was something, man. And to be honest with you, um, when I first went, like I said, it was such a chill experience that I didn't even, take that into consideration, kind of thing. I sat there for a little bit and I soaked it in, but um, the second time, all I could think about was that picture of you. Actually, you know what I mean. So even in like memory, while I'm in the position that you are in, you're still inspiring me.
Elise
So
happened to get Elise. That was like so candid, that picture. I had no clue, but she's got it live on her phone, so it
mhm.
was crazy. Yeah, that was just I had no clue she was doing that. So
It's a historic picture in my mind, man. Like that's one of those
what
pictures that's like you watch one of those inspirational movies and Buddy's walking out at the end and then it freezes and fades. Like the Breakfast Club, kind of right, just fades.
there's either that picture or the other one that I get made fun of is when I'm standing there and he's up on stage and I'm looking at him. I've only got one shoe on because he called me over before I could get my other shoe on. So that's a good one too.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah,
What do? You walk over with one shoe?
that's yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So everybody got their question ready? Because I think we're kind of where you're at. It's starting out the new year, other than if you have any. I think one of us is going to ask you what your new goals and stuff like that are moving on. So we're to the question part, Caitlin.
I'm back
Yeah,
for now.
Hi.
Caitlin had to step out for a work duty real fast.
Sorry, yeah, I'm running.
Cool.
My kids are running, and I live in a residence hall. So
Cool.
Aaron, you go.
Oh yeah. I'm wondering what kind of cadence that you do as far as your workouts. I know you do a lot of jujitsu. I know you do workouts in your garage and DDPY. How often do you do that?
So we actually sold our house, so that was a huge
Oh,
change as well. So I no longer have my like dungeon, which was also my like meditative space as well, right? So
yeah.
that's been a challenge. So I've been doing DDP yoga. Usually, just like to be honest with you, I'll do fat burners or energy still. I don't know, because I'm doing so much more. I feel like that's kind of what I need to stay um, as flexible, or that's what suits me, I guess. But now I'm doing a 90-day jack again, so I'm just doing one jack a day. If I have time to do more, of course, I say I'm going to do more and want to do more, but we'll see. But yeah, I do jujitsu Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, 6 a.m., 6 p.m., twice a day. I always get in my DDP yoga on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and Sundays are never miss. And then in between, whenever I kind of have the opportunity to, um, taking my dogs for a walk is a huge one. I twisted my ankle pretty badly about 5 weeks ago, and I feel the difference just from not going for 45-minute walks. Just like one walk a day, 45 minutes, and he feels it. I get him out a little bit, but I can't unfortunately walk. So walking, yeah, I hit the weights at the jujitsu gym. That's about it. So every day I'm exercising.
Amazing.
So for so I had noticed when you were posting, you talk about your Friday and stuff, but then I really noticed that the man was working out in denim. And I have to say, as someone who is all about the comfort, I wear a tank top and shorts to work out, or like a sports bra and shorts. Talk to me about the denim. Like, how can you move in it? I'm thoroughly impressed every time you post a picture and you're in the jeans, man.
I'm pretty sure I just have attention deficit disorder. Like, so everything that I do in my jeans are just like, oh, squirrel. And then I'm like, I have an idea. Let's do this. No, when I work out, I'm usually in my tights. And these photos are just, well, no, not necessarily. When I'm lifting weights, I'm still in jeans. I just don't see I'm not moving my lower half, I guess. But yeah, no,
No, I'm
whenever I
super
do, like,
impressed. You be doing certain poses, and I'm like, the man's in denim. I don't know how he's doing that.
yeah, it's squirrel. It's what it is. Yeah.
Hey, I'm just glad I had a shirt on tonight.
I thought about it. I was like, just the belt. My white tighty whities and the belt.
So I guess my question was, we got a lot of people starting off with the 2022 Positively Unstoppable. What was your go-to recording that you took for the contest?
What was my go-to recording?
Yeah, as far as like what did you have a go-to recording that you recorded every time for your channel that you uploaded, or was it just like a hodgepodge of the different ones that you did?
Oh, what videos did I put on to submit? Yeah, so I waited to the end basically to do that, which again, that was a dumb move because that was very hectic and took a lot longer than I thought. And the problem is I didn't organize any of my photos or videos. So the best I had was like Google Photos through month. And then I had like three different accounts that I had to just tear through. Um, but
You
no, I
went the
think if I would
Dobbins
have spent,
approach.
yeah, I think if I would have spent more time, I probably could have found more gems. But it was difficult because for me, the mental change and like the recovery aspect is something very dear to me. So it's still a contest. So I knew I had to show, the physical transformations and the workout videos and stuff like that. So I incorporated a lot of the fun stuff, like doing a black crow on a bed on a basketball, little stuff like that. But I think what did it for me, to be honest, was like that 10-minute video um, of Not My Rock Bottom. I think that was kind of the thing that like grabbed the attention. Um, and then that was it. I mean, I don't know. I tried to incorporate all the fun stuff as well, like, but still showed, you know, what I was doing. I guess I tried to stay true to who I was,
Show
you
your
know,
personality.
show my personality and, not really try to fit an idea. Just be like, all right, listen, this is what I want to show. This is who I am. This is what's important to me. So take it or leave it. Kind of not take it or leave it, but you know what I mean? It's kind of like, look, this is what I want them to see. So
So my question is, and I'm hoping you can remember this because I listened to it recently. You were on a podcast for American Fight League, and I'm going to
mhm.
steal the question from that.
Atlantic.
Atlantic. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Atlantic Fight League. I'm sorry. You said in there the guy asked you who your mentor or favorite person was now, and man, that was powerful stuff. Do you remember what you said? Do
I
you
do.
remember what
Yeah.
you? Will you
It,
share
it,
that because it that that made me feel bad for a minute, but then it woke something up inside, and I'm like, I really want him to share that here because that is like that next 90% thinking.
Yeah, well, he asked me, he said, who do I look up to or have as a mentor on the mat or off the mat? And I said, me. I thought, I said, I know this could offend some people because a lot of people have helped me, but I am my own leader, and I think it's essential to become whoever it is you want to be. You have to lead the way. So people can inspire me and people can motivate me, but I don't want to be Justin Dobbins. I don't want to be, whoever else. I want to be me, So I took that to heart. Like I really, if I am who I say I am, then I think I'm a fucking super person, and that's who is molding me. No one else is doing this. I am doing this every day of my life, all the time. I have nothing. I don't work. I don't do anything but work on myself. So yeah, and I think it's important that we all, give ourselves that credit that we're the star of the show. We are. It doesn't have to be of your show. It doesn't have to be of your show. It's a star of my show. You know, you have the ability, everything.
Absolutely. Thank you. That
Appreciate
just
it.
from that podcast, I was like, that's right. I mean, because nobody will live up to the standards you hold yourself to, and I
And we
think
should
at
only
this,
live up to those standards as well. We should only live
yep,
up to our own standards.
yep, should not project those on others. So,
Mhm.
yep, absolutely,
Cool.
man. Got the chills on that one. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You really, like I said, man, all of you still continue to inspire me. Caitlin, we were talking the other day, like you're just, it's like roar. There is a roar in you, man. And it's beautiful. It's like, I love the attitude. I don't know if you have an attitude, but in my eyes, you do. And I love it. You earned it. You deserve it. You know,
Thanks, Justin.
Jeremy.
It, no,
So
no,
yeah, hey,
No. Justin's eye
Oh,
rolling. No, Justin's
okay.
over there going, oh, a little bit.
I would
Appreciating
never.
you're saying thank you, Jeremy. Justin's over there like behind their back going,
Yeah, but all of you. I mean, Aaron as well. Like you, I don't know how you do it, but you just keep going. You just like that smile. It's the same smile all the time. And I personally know how hard it is just to get one smile. So to keep that smile all the time, I know you've gone through your own thing this year with, your relationships. That is, in itself, wherever you are, I understand what it took to get here and to maintain, because that shit's real, so good for you for plugging on, man. I respect that a lot. And Mr. Smith, might as well give you a shout out as well. Your involvement in this community, man, is like I'm surprised you're not employed by them, to be honest with you. I hear everyone giving shout outs to all the extra help you've given them with, any kind of tech support or even moral support for that matter, Like, I think all of you guys are super human beings. And, keep on keeping on, as Joe Dirt would say.
Thanks for that.
Well, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's about wraps up the show. If anybody has anything else, where can we find you at on your you Instagram, TikTok? You want to throw that out here, and Matt can add that on the later with his editing skills.
I think it's all Jeremy E. Landry.
Okay,
I think. Yeah. On all of
cool.
all the socials.
All righty. Well, we'll get those links. We'll get those links set up here so people can follow your story because your battle with addiction and just like your befores and afters, like you can see in those that you show like some really like rock bottom, like just drunker than hell photos, and you can tell you're not happy or healthy there. And then just the difference. So I really think people should go back and watch your journey because just that transformation that we've got to see watching it. I think more people should jump on there and follow you.
Thank you. Yeah. So anything's possible, guys. It's not hard to find inspiration in this group.
Well, thank you for joining us, Jeremy. And do you want
Thank
to
you
close
for
us
having
out,
me.
Matt?
Yeah, we just want to thank you for seeing us in this episode of The Next 90%. Please like, share, and subscribe. And thank you.
Bye, guys.